Okay, we're here for part 2 of our visit with Betsy Della Pasta, who's taking the photos for our baking book. We're starting to talk about the cut. These brownies are cut in a certain way. You didn't just chisel through them. What were you trying to accomplish in the 25-minute cutting the brownie session?
Well, the main thing is that a lot of times when you're cutting a brownie or showing any type of food, when you see it in natural life, it looks beautiful, but when you photograph it, it looks messy or not quite as appetizing. We don't want things to look perfect, so it's kind of a fine line you have to ride between making things look nice for the image and not looking like they're out of fairy tale or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, it took a long time to get them the way that I wanted them.
And you put these here to cast shadows, right?
Yeah. With the natural light and not having all of my equipment here, I have put these jars up here to cast some shadows, just so that the light isn't completely even. It's a little bit more interesting with a little bit of contrast.
And it really is amazing what you can do. I've seen the photos. You'll take a pile of cookies that may not look the most appetizing they are, but then looking at them through your lens, it's just amazing. Let's come over here, and Betsy has brought her own power supply, so this is very friendly to customs here. Let's look at what you're seeing on your screen. That's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous shot. What did you do to... How can you use technology like this in an environment like this to make your photos better?
Well, like I was saying earlier, as far as making sure you get things in focus with all of the children running around and whatnot, it's sometimes difficult for me to tell if it's perfectly in focus on the back of my camera, where most people would look to check out their point and shoot photos. So as I always do, I hook my computer up to my camera through this cable, and when I shoot here, it shows up here. That way I can zoom in and make sure that I'm not getting camera shake from 16 feet pounding around, and so it shows up here, and I will shoot from here also, just by pushing a button on my computer to make sure that I'm not shaking my own camera when I push the shutter. Other than that, we have this external power supply that I can hook my computer up to, just to keep us running as long as we need to be.
It's amazing. Do you have a favorite, not food that you've tried, but a favorite food to shoot? Is there something that really was enjoyable for you to shoot?
Well, I've had a lot of fun with the cookies this shoot, and I knew I was going to have a lot of fun with the cookies before we came up. Before we came up, I sat down and made a list of all of the ways I could possibly photograph cookies and pies and a variety of other things, just to make sure that even though we have shots of 10 different kinds of cookies, I don't have 10 of the exact same shot.
Yeah.
But anyway, when I sat down and I made the list of all the different ways that I wanted to photograph the cookies, I knew I was going to be excited about them, and I have been. So I've been really pleased with the cookie shots.
Yeah, I'll be excited to see this book come out. Now, tell us a little bit about your background. You went to school to study photography.
Yes, I did.
Tell us about that.
Well, I did a 2-year program in photography. Everybody knows you can become a photographer right off the street if you want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recommend that, but you could if you want. You don't have to have any sort of degree to do it. I did a 2-year program because most of the time when you do a 4-year program, you have to focus on fine art and painting and sculpting and drawing, and none of those things are anything that I'm interested in doing. So the 2-year program is a little bit more technical, and it's focused in on photography that sells rather than photography for the sake of photography.
Is that something you've always been interested in?
Yes, I've been really focused in on it since I was about 16, so about 10 years now. But my first recollection of being interested in photography was probably when I was 9, and I had a little purple 110 camera, and I decided that this year that I got this camera that I was going to go take pictures of the leaves every fall for the rest of my life when I was like 9. And so I got my cousin and my neighbor out, and I took them all around our town. I live out in the country. I took them all around our house and took pictures of them in the trees and sitting on rocks, and so that's my earliest recollection of my interest in photography. But I really began to focus in when I was about 16.
Now it's interesting because you took the photos for our wedding, Rachel and our wedding.
Yeah.
When you got married, I had to laugh because I was like, oh gosh, how did you pick a photographer for your wedding?
Yeah.
Was that tough?
No, I didn't have. I mean, the only tough part was making sure that we had a date that the photographer that I wanted to do it could do it. I work with so many photographers, and a lot of them who are doing this sort of thing, which is similar to what I'm doing all of the time, aren't interested in shooting weddings also. So only a few of them are interested in weddings, and as soon as we got engaged, I knew exactly which one I wanted to be my photographer, and so we probably halfway scheduled our date around his availability, but that's okay.
Well, you're very early in your career. Is there a dream assignment that you would love to have someday?
Well, honestly, this isn't too far from my dream, which hopefully I haven't peaked so early that I become bored. But this is the type of thing that I'm interested in doing, books, and I mean, I do all product photography, all still, other than the wedding. So for the most part, I don't shoot a lot of models or anything like that. The most models I've shot is, Lavina or one of her daughters hanging out in the background. So
Sure.
this is very close to what I'd like to do. I'd really like to increase the number of books that I do, and maybe branch into some different genres.
Well, hopefully this will open some doors for you. I appreciate the great work, and when you pick up our baking book this fall, you can know that you saw the halfway bars on video. The pictures, I'm sure, will be beautiful, and I hope you enjoyed looking at all of Betsy's photos in our books. Thank you.
Thanks.